You have chosen Université de Montréal to study abroad. This capsule offers a general overview of the required steps to come and study in the Canadian province of Quebec.
I have received an admission offer from Université de Montréal. Let's review together the steps for obtaining the authorizations that may be required depending on the length of my study program at UdeM. The first step is to accept the admission offer sent by UdeM. However, if the offer received applies to a student exchange program, I don't need to send a formal acceptance. If I have received a conditional admission letter, I must still initiate immigration procedures at once, even if I am still not sure if I meet all the admission criteria. No final admission notice will be sent at a later date. In order to study in Quebec, you must obtain authorizations from two departments. In Quebec, it's the Ministère de l'Immigration, de la Francisation et l'Intégration du Québec, MIFI. In Canada, it's Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, IRCC. The study program I have chosen lasts more than 6 months. In that case, I must obtain a Quebec Acceptance Certificate, Certificat d'Acceptation du Québec, 𝐬𝐭𝐞𝐩𝐬 for short. This document is delivered by the MIFI. I must also obtain a study permit, which is delivered by IRCC. First, I begin to fill out an application for the Quebec Acceptance Certificate, 𝐬𝐭𝐞𝐩𝐬, online. The 𝐬𝐭𝐞 application is the subject of Capsule 2. Then I must access online the 𝐟𝐨𝐥𝐥𝐸 platform, in French only, from the Government of Quebec, where I upload the required documents for processing my request. If my application is accepted, I will receive an attestation of issuance of the Quebec Acceptance Certificate, 𝐬𝐭𝐞. After receiving the 𝐬𝐭𝐞 attestation of issuance, I will then be allowed to submit a study permit application online. This will be the subject of Capsule 3. If my study program includes a mandatory internship, this is when I must request a co-op work permit at the same time as my study permit application. This will be covered in Capsule 8. When I reach this stage, I will begin to prepare and upload in my IRCC account all the required documents for my study permit application. Once my study permit application is submitted, I will receive an invitation to provide my biometrics. Capsule 6 explains how to provide biometrics. I may need to get a medical exam to comply with immigration rules and to obtain my study permit, but it is not always the case. The medical exam is explained in Capsule 6. Since I am a citizen of a country from which the Government of Canada requires a temporary resident visa, TRV, I will then receive an invitation from IRCC to submit my passport prior to a decision concerning my study permit application. Finally, I will receive the IRCC decision concerning my study permit application. If accepted, I will receive my letter of introduction. Since the temporary resident visa, TRV, and the electronic travel authorization, ETA, are approved at the same time as the study permit applications, I do not need to submit distinct requests to obtain either one of these documents. Finally, I can plan my studies at UdeM.
The study program I have chosen lasts less than 6 months. I do not need to request a 𝐬𝐭𝐞 and a study permit. However, depending on my country of citizenship, I must obtain either an electronic travel authorization, ETA, or a temporary resident visa, TRV. If you did not apply for a TRV, you will need to apply online for an ETA. In my case, I need to apply for a temporary resident visa. First, I need to fill out my TRV application online. Detailed steps to apply for a TRV and for an ETA will be featured in Capsule 5. Since I apply for a TRV, I will have to provide my biometrics, and I may also have to get a medical exam. As part of my TRV application, I will be invited by IRCC to submit my passport so it could be appended with my temporary resident visa. Lastly, I will receive my TRV or my ETA application approval. Then I will be able to prepare my arrival in Montreal. If you need any help in these procedures, don't forget that, like me, you can get support from the UdeM International team throughout the process. Good luck, and I will see you soon in another information capsule.
The laws and regulations in force in Quebec and Canada concerning immigration take precedence over the information contained in this capsule. Please consult the two departments' websites. The information presented here can change without notice and does not constitute legal advice. It is not binding on Université de Montréal or its employees.